Kristen Greenhall here, ECE 3, Early Childhood Educator 3, Supervisor of a downtown daycare. I'm here to discuss connected parenting. I know, it's a strange word, right? What does that mean? You've heard of authoritarian parenting and gentle parenting. What's connected parenting? Well, first off, I just want to find out, how many of you have children? Wow, quite a few of us, hey? How many of us, and this might seem like a very silly question, but how many of us were children? All of us. I know, it seems like a silly question. However, one thing that I would like to ask everybody, and I'm not going to ask you for you to raise your hands, but I'd like you to close your eyes and think back to when you were a child. How did your parents parent you? Do you hear, quit crying, I'll give you something to cry about? Children are to be seen and not heard. Or do you hear, okay, honey, you can have this. Okay, honey, I'm sorry. Yes. Okay. What voice do you hear in your childhood memories? Because that makes a huge difference in our lives. I was a 80s, 90s kid, latchkey, went home after school, got my sister and I a little snack, and I was outside often. Nowadays, parents who do that may end up with, Child and Family Services or the police at their door saying, hey, what's going on? Like that change in what the government allows us to do as parents, there have been changes based on mental health and building a stronger, healthier, and better community. And what better way to do it than with connected parenting? We want to build resilient, self-regulated adults, but how do we do that? One thing that I learned when I was in college, actually, we had studied theorists like Piaget, Harry Harlow, Freud, so many. But one thing that really stuck with me over the past 30 years, and that was Harry Harlow's research. He had built 2 wire mums, and one was covered in cloth and comfy and cozy, looked more like a monkey parent than the wire monkey. And he would put the bottle for the baby monkeys to feed on the wire mum that was not soft, was literally just like a bunch of hangers. Well, it wasn't hangers, but hanger material all together. The monkey could climb up there and eat, and was able to do that, but then would quickly, as soon as they were done eating, jump onto the other wire mum that was comfy. What does that say? We always seek comfort. Children need comfort. They need to learn from loving, happy parents. We can't always be happy, and that is okay. What we do with our feelings is what matters. And connected parenting, to me, is what matters. I have facilitated Circle of Security for so many groups of parents. Some of them have worked in daycares, some are single moms on assistance, some have been colleagues, and I share it often with my own children, and I do discuss how I wish I had been a better parent. That while I learned a lot from my educational background in what children needed, their development, proper nutrition, and all the things to how to keep a child alive, literally, and entertained. But one thing that I wish I had learned 30 years ago that unfortunately I learned after my children were much older was Circle of Security, which is essentially a wonderful parenting program that the crux is being with your children and their feelings. This is a chapter 3. So being with our children, whether they're curious, joyful, sad, afraid, angry, or feeling shame, any of these emotions, can I put these all in the circle and say that I'm actually with my children throughout this? Every single day? No. But I've tried to make sure that these are in the circle the majority of the time. Now, Circle of Security is us allowing our children to go roam around that circle, to, go and explore without us or come to us when they need something. That is connected parenting. That is where children thrive because they need to learn. Children come out and they're this wonderful blank piece of paper, right? They haven't learned anything yet. They're brand new beings and they need us to help them navigate the world. In the first few weeks, it's navigating just being together. And then maybe it's navigating the living room and the house. And, slowly, as they get older, their world gets bigger. How do we want them to present themselves in that world? How do we want that world to receive our children? Hugely important. They are the next generation. They are so important. And they are the most beautiful natural resource that we have. I want to ensure that of all those feelings, I'm connecting with my children on a consistent basis. That is being connected. It doesn't mean our children don't have consequences. However, the consequences are natural. Yeah, you can be upset that you can't go to your friend Parker's house today, but Parker's got a doctor's appointment. Maybe we can call Mom and find a day for a play date. We take those undesirable feelings and we take our child's hand and we work through them so that the next time it happens, they can say, hey, can't go to Parker's again. He has a dentist appointment. Really want to hang out today. Do you think we can call his mom and see if he can come over tomorrow? Yes, we can. Our child has learned that, yes, I can be sad. And it's okay to be sad for 5 minutes. It's okay to be sad for 10 minutes. Our feelings matter. And when our children know that their feelings matter and will help them work it out, we win. They win. They become more connected to us. They're more connected to their feelings. They're able to understand that a feeling, whether it's happy or sad, it's not going to last forever, but it's okay because a new, happy, wonderful thing is going to happen, or some other, experience is going to be put in their path that's going to require some resilience, and they will be resilient. We will teach them that. Being with children as our most important resource is so important. They're the future and will lead us in the world. They are going to create either a happy, healthy world or a not so happy world. We have the choice to give our most precious natural resource, which is our children, a healthy start with wonderfully connected parenting. Thank you.